It was my birthday and I thought one simple message could bring my family closer. I opened the family group and typed 3 words, "I miss you." Nobody replied, not even my son. Hours later, he finally sent me a message saying we are on vacation. Do not be dramatic. I stared at that sentence for a long time. Then I made one decision that changed everything. I removed their access to the account they had been using for years. What happened next left me with 37 missed calls before midnight. My name is Daniel, and for most of my life I believed that family meant being there no matter what. I worked for decades, paid the bills, helped my children whenever they needed me, and quietly accepted that their lives had become more important than mine. I never complained when birthdays were forgotten or when phone calls became shorter. I kept telling myself that people get busy and that one day they would understand how much their family meant to them. Then came my 62nd birthday. I woke up early expecting nothing extravagant. I did not need a party. I did not need expensive gifts. I only wanted to hear from my son and my grandchildren. By noon my phone was still silent. I opened our family group and saw that everyone had been active. Pictures had been shared. Messages had been sent. People were talking about weekend plans and dinner reservations, but nobody had mentioned my birthday. I stared at the screen for several minutes before typing the words, "I miss you." I sent the message and waited. 10 minutes passed, then 30 minutes, then an hour. Nobody replied. That silence hurt more than I expected. Later that evening, my son finally sent me a private message. He did not say happy birthday. He did not ask how I was feeling. He simply wrote that they were on vacation and told me not to be dramatic. I read the message again and again. Something inside me became completely quiet. For years I had been helping my son financially. I had allowed him to use an account that I originally opened to manage household and family expenses. I had given him access because I trusted him. He used that account for subscriptions, payments, and several family expenses. That night I opened the account and looked at the activity. There were charges I had never approved. There were expenses I had never discussed with him. There were things being paid for that had nothing to do with me. And suddenly I understood something painful. They had not forgotten me because they were too busy. They had become comfortable believing that I would always be there whenever they needed something. So I made a decision. I removed their access. I did not send an angry message. I did not threaten anyone. I simply protected my account and stopped allowing people to treat my support like an unlimited resource. The next morning nothing happened. Then my phone started ringing. One missed call, then another, then 5. By afternoon there were more than 20. By evening my son was calling repeatedly. I did not answer. Then he sent a message asking why the account was no longer working. For the first time in years I did not rush to solve his problem. I waited. A few minutes later another message arrived. "Dad, please answer." Then another, "We need to talk." Then another, "Please do not do this." I looked at those messages and remembered my birthday. The same family that had ignored 3 simple words from me was suddenly desperate to hear my voice. By midnight I had 37 missed calls, but I still did not call back. The following morning my son finally came to my house. He looked exhausted and angry. He asked me why I would suddenly cut everyone off. I told him I had not cut off my family. I had only stopped allowing my family to use me whenever they needed something. He became silent. Then he admitted that they had taken my support for granted. He said they assumed I would always pay for things. He said they thought I would never say no. I looked at him and told him something he would never forget. You are not upset because you lost access to an account. You are upset because you realized you had lost access to someone who always said yes. For the first time my son had nothing to say. He sat down and apologized. Not because he needed money. Not because he needed access. But because he finally understood what his silence on my birthday had done to me. I did not forgive him instantly. Forgiveness is not the same thing as pretending nothing happened. I told him that if our relationship was going to continue, it would have to be based on respect instead of convenience. He agreed, and from that day forward, I stopped measuring my worth by how often my family needed me. I learned that sometimes the strongest boundary is not an angry goodbye. Sometimes it is simply saying no and refusing to feel guilty about it. That birthday taught me something I wish I had learned years earlier. Being a loving parent does not mean allowing people to take you for granted. Sometimes people only realize your value when you stop making their life easier. My son did not lose access to an account that night. He lost access to the version of me who would sacrifice everything just to keep everyone happy. And maybe that was the first time he finally understood what family was supposed to mean.